Hello everyone, welcome back to Frank Film Club. This week we are talking about Polite Society, which is a film written and directed by Nida Manzoor. It's about Ria, an aspiring stunt woman who must save her sister from her impending marriage with an attempt to pull off the most ambitious of all wedding heists in the name of independence and sisterhood. The film stars Priya Kanzara, Richu Arya and Nimra Booker. And it's available to watch on Amazon and Apple TV. This episode, we're going to be talking about role models and teenage aspirations. We're going to be talking about stunts, of course, sisterhood, and also the importance of sound design. Bit of a random one for you there. But yeah, so stay tuned for that. First of all, how are you both?
So good. Just having the best week ever. Had such a joy watching this movie. It was like a real highlight of the week. We were all just discussing before we started the episode, but I've got my Whoop. And so I've been loving just tracking all of my heart rate and, I don't know, like blood oxygen level, all this stuff that I don't need to know, but now I know and I feel like better for it. It's been great.
Love that.
Yeah.
Very healthy of you there.
I know.
Not sponsored by Woo.
No.
Yeah, if only.
Could be. Let me know.
I need me one of those.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah?
I'm really tired. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
The baby is not sleeping. She's not. She's simply not. So we're trying to sort that out. But I think you just got to let babies do their thing, which is what I'm realizing. Trying to like schedule stuff, you just absolutely cannot. You have to sort of like let things go, which for a control person, really hard.
Yeah, I feel like that's really giving you something in your life though. Like when you just have to like be subject to something else. Like I feel like there's like times in my life where I'm trying to enforce that on myself. Yeah. You have it like gracing you.
Yeah.
If I was going to try and like spin it into a positive
No,
light.
that is a really good spin, and I'm definitely gonna try and embrace that a little bit more. I think when you zoom out, it's easier to see that, and then in the moment you're like,
I needed to do that this week. Yeah.
Anyway, apart from that, I'm thriving.
Good.
Wow. You look amazing. You do not look like you've not had any sleep.
Oh my God, thanks.
And I love your outfit.
Oh my God.
So it's not impeding your decisions to look fucking wicked.
Okay, great. I'll hold on to that as well.
Yeah.
Good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, no, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, just cracking on, all in like prep for this film. But I'm really excited to go in my van this weekend.
Yeah.
Have a little weekend off and go for a walk somewhere. And yeah, I'm just very excited for that, really.
Yeah. So we got the Friday feeling. Oh, we've got the Wednesday feeling.
But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that, but also looking forward to chatting to you guys as well.
Yeah.
I had heard about this film. I can't think who told me about this film. I feel like I might have been one of you two. And I was looking forward to watching it because I'd not heard that much actually. But I thought when I looked at it, I was like, this film looks wicked. So what were your first thoughts?
Yeah, well, we had a fun meeting with Working Title recently. I feel like maybe they were telling us a lot about this movie.
Okay, oh yeah, maybe it was
we had a meeting with one of the producers at Working Title, and they were telling us a lot about this movie. And I had heard about it before, but it kind of really gave me the in. They were so buzzing about it and like the success of it that I was really excited to sit down and watch it. And I was really glad that we were going to do it for the podcast. And just like had a blast, like had the most fun watching this movie. I feel like in days gone by, like I really struggle with comedies, but I was just so here for it. I felt like the girls were so silly and so fun. And I just felt like I was hanging out with like my mates. It was really, really brilliant. And like had no idea what the story was going to be about or anything. And I don't know, I just was on the page. I feel like sometimes I'm struggling to get on the page when I don't know a lot about the movie, haven't seen the trailer, haven't been like bombarded with the TikTok videos. I don't know what to expect. And I struggle to like land on the page. But I was like here for it and just had a blast yesterday afternoon. It's great.
And this film is exactly, you have to be like locked into it because of where it goes.
Yeah.
Right.
Was not expecting.
I know.
Love. I haven't watched anything that surprised me this much in a while, you know? I feel like I always know what I'm getting. And even though I felt, because I had seen the trailer, I know somebody who works, well, a couple of people who work at Working Title as well, who worked on this film.
Okay, great.
And they had posted loads of stuff when it went to a festival. Where did it premiere?
I know it was at Sundance and it was at South by Southwest. I don't know which one it premiered at though.
I feel like I remember, it's Angie, she went to South by Southwest.
Okay.
And I was like, I really need to watch this film, loved what it looked like, but I just was not expecting it to be so full-bodied in story, like the way the characters are and the performances are really like specific to this genre, the edit, the sound, which I am interested to talk about as well.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to enjoy it, but I just did not know how surprised I was going to be with how I would enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad that you both really enjoyed it. I did also, I also had a really good time. I do also have some things.
Qualms.
Some qualms.
Great.
Just because I thought I wanted to love it more than I did.
Yeah.
I do also kind of love it, but I don't love it in some ways. I'd be lying if I said I totally loved it.
Great.
So
Well, then
I won't
don't
lie.
lie. Because we're being frank here.
I'm an honest girl.
Yeah.
But I think we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Interested.
Ooh, okay, great. Well, first of all, I wanted to talk to you both about role models because obviously Ria has this role model, Eunice.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Eunice, who's a stunt woman.
Yeah.
And I just thought that whole like story thread, I loved it, and that she like emails her all the time and everything. And I just wondered if you two ever had any role models or anyone that you reached out to when you were younger.
I never reached out to anyone. I mean, my big sister was a huge role model for me growing up, and I like always just wanted to do the things that she wanted to do. And so I loved the dynamic in this movie and really want to sit down and watch this movie with my sister because I just think it's like brilliant. But I would say like I like a very formative time in my life, I went to watch Cats at the Hippodrome in Bristol. And I don't think it was with the original cast, but I remember I had the Cats DVD or like video or something of like the original cast. And she used to be on like the radio afterwards. I want to say she's called Elaine Page.
Yeah.
Elaine Page?
Yeah.
Yeah. Huge idol when I was growing up because of her in Cats. I thought that she was like amazing. When I did my debut stage performance, she came to the opening night.
Oh.
It was crazy.
Did you invite her?
No, I think I had been telling the director about it and he knew her and so invited her and was like sort of schmoozing kind of thing and then was like, come and meet Maisie. And then I met her and it was like, I was texting my mum immediately, was just like, I cannot believe it, like it's come full circle. But like, I didn't have like proper idols, but that was someone that I just like stuck to. I feel
That was a moment.
Yeah, fully. And then when I made my stage debut, I mean, I wasn't singing and dancing and whatever, but I just was like, this feels like the universe is doing something here. It was special.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
wild.
That is cool.
And I came to see you in that before we knew each other.
That's mad.
Mad.
Yeah,
It was great.
we didn't know each other at all.
was
We
it
hadn't
called
even started. No.
No, I didn't know you then.
It was called I and You.
Yeah. Who played opposite you again?
Zach Wyatt, and it was like his first thing as well. And now he's like, you know,
Amazing.
yeah. I have so many actor friends who have worked with him, and like he hadn't even graduated from Central yet.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a time. It was
God, that is so incredible to know that you were once in her audience,
Right.
idolizing her, and then she's come to watch you. That's really cool.
Yeah, love her.
That is cool.
Did you have any idols growing up?
or
or anyone that you wrote to?
So I don't know if you must know this. I wanted to be a singer when I was younger. Did you know this?
I don't think I knew that.
Maybe I did.
I used to go to like singing lessons and I would do like singing competitions and I did a few different things. And I wouldn't say she was like my idol, but she was definitely somebody that I looked up to, Charlotte Church.
Yeah.
Oh,
People-
yeah.
You know who that is?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great. Of course.
I just thought
She's
maybe
a Welsh icon.
yeah, but maybe I thought maybe I knew her because she's Welsh.
Okay, yeah.
But you're Welsh.
I am.
She crossed over.
Yeah, great. Well, she was just somebody that I would like aspire.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
for career wise.
Yeah.
And then she started being a bit of a bad girl, and I was like, I'm going to be a bad girl. I'm going to get married to a rugby player as well. But yeah, probably her, but not to the level of this. Obviously, I kind of wish that I did. Though.
Yeah, I
did
love
you?
it. Oh my god, I had well, I had loads of role models, but it really reminded me of, there was this director that I really loved, Kevin McDonald. And I did reach out to him, or like reached out to his assistant, or I don't know, whatever I could find online. You know, I love an email. It's how we met.
Yeah, she's great at them.
Yeah, and I found this email in recent times, and it was literally, I remember doing it. It was when I was in sixth form. Wait, maybe not in sixth form. It was when I was because it must have been when I was just in lower school, because I remember being in, you used to like a cooking class sometimes at school.
Yeah.
I remember it was when I was in cooking class, I was sending this email.
You're the best. Oh my God.
She's like mixing.
Yeah.
Kevin McDonald in one hand.
Yeah.
And I sent it to this assistant, and they were like, "Oh, we'll like let you know." And when I found this email, I was like, "This is so embarrassing to think like the way I've written it." And it's like, I really like films, and if you need any help on set, I could come and help you.
No.
And I'm in North Wales, and I'm like, oh, just like imagine.
But that's what makes the world turn. Yeah. I think that shit like that is like, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I have met him now.
Oh my God.
It was it was very underwhelming, but I'm like, yeah,
Full circle.
love stuff like that.
Where did you meet him?
It was in London. I was on some like day. What was it for? He was doing a talk, and then he was there afterwards, and I was like, oh my God, it's him. And then we didn't really chat properly. I was just in his presence.
It'll be another time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But when she was doing all her chat to Eunice, I was like, oh my God.
It's taking you back.
I see myself.
Yeah.
I would love to see that email.
Yeah, I'll find it. Oh
Okay,
my
great.
gosh. Yeah, so many.
good.
I think I also reached out to Andrea Arnold's assistant once as well, and they were like,
God, I
but they
love
did
you.
reply, but were like, no.
But that's nice. I love that. I feel like
Yeah.
that's like, because I think about it now, because I think about like my kid. Sorry, I don't know if this is too off subject, because we're not talking about the
I feel
movie.
like we are, but I
Sorry.
think we go with, no, I think
But
I
like
was as well.
stan culture now, it's like Twitter, and it's like fandom, and it's like a craze, and it's like a little bit actually disjointed to like that sort of approach, where it's just like very, very vulnerable, very, very free. It's like, like Zayn Malik when he had that one little piece of hair at the Brits, and it's like these tweets that are like, I want to hang myself with that piece of hair. Oh my God. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, there's something about it that's like a little, like, listen, everyone's free to do what they want to do, but it's like, this version of it, this movie version of it, like it can be like that.
Yeah.
And it can be like pure.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's true.
Yeah. And I like that about this movie.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it is relatable, even though it is a different time now. But it still found it to be, because it is set now.
Yeah.
But no, like people are like tweeting now. But they didn't have that
That's
as
true.
like
They
a
didn't
feature.
have that, which I love that they didn't have that. It often
Exactly.
puts me off.
But
It feels like a movie more now.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, when we spoke to Mia, they had all that stuff scripted for TikTok stuff with how to have sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they took it. It like ages it in
It's
a
not
way
cinematic, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, you're so right with the cinematicness of this. Right at the end, when the sisters are like, "Oh, do you want to go get some food?" In my head, I was like, "They're off to Mackey's," and then they're in like this like American diner. And at first, I was like, "Oh, that didn't feel very British," but it does just feel really cinematic. And I think that's something that they've achieved really well in this film.
Yeah.
They've made it like
Yeah.
relatable.
It
but
feels
cinematic.
like it feels like a working title movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, but they've got such a diverse range of movies, but there's something about the way that they do it. They really like got it. And I love,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, but I just,
Yeah.
They really know what they're doing, don't they? They're smart, those
Yeah,
ones.
it's like they've done a few films.
Yeah, it's
and
like
they
they've
know
been
what-
doing this a little while. Weird.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about how the film came
Came to
about.
be.
So this is Nida Manzoor's debut feature.
Yeah.
But she has done a few shorts before. She wrote and directed some shorts. She also directed some TV episodes, and then she was the creator of We Are Lady Parts. Did you ever see
So
it?
good.
I didn't.
I did. Well, I saw a few episodes and I thought it was brilliant. And I didn't know that before watching this. And then I thought, but then when I was watching this, I was like, this humour really reminds me of it. Did you think that the humour felt similar?
Yeah.
So I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
When I saw that it was her that has done this as well. She wrote this about 10 years ago. So it's been like one that she's had in her pocket for a while.
Yeah.
and it was like slightly less mad at the time, but was also always kind of about this stunt, the sisters, and like I wanted to be a stunt woman and blah blah blah. But then I think once I worked with Working Title and also the studios, then I think it got way more heightened and way more commercial, because it's very. I feel like they really try to make it commercial.
Yeah, definitely. It feels very. It's like it's left of center still. It feels like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It feels like what was that other superhero one with Aaron Johnson?
Oh,
Kick-Ass.
Kick-Ass,
It's not as foul-mouthed or whatever, but it's like it feels like that sort of touch, which I love. I really love.
Yeah, and I think that was a lot of the making of it was Nida looking at loads of different old references of all different
Kung Fu movies.
Yeah, and just being and looking at all these different stunts, and she was like, I want that move, that move, that move, that move, and then she'd take it to her stunt coordinators and be like, can we do this? And then they'd like go from there, because it is like action packed.
Yeah.
So brilliant.
Really cool. But it was also kind of based loosely on, or kind of like a merge from her sister relationship. She's got a sister, and she just wanted to see like them represented on film.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Was it, so when, I wonder how different it is from what she originally wrote.
Yeah.
In terms of plot.
Yeah, I
Because
don't
like
know.
style-wise, I can see how they but I wonder if she had written, like, because the story is mad.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it is.
Well, yeah, there's that sort of like twist at the end where it becomes like really bonkers. It like in a way.
Yeah.
It sort of zooms out of like the real world in a sense. But I just like, yeah, it was like really surprising, but I didn't have a problem with it.
No.
Even though I was like loving, it just like really landed, didn't it? Because like, I feel like you would write that. We might even read that and be like, what?
Yeah.
But so, yeah, it's just like, I don't know, it's really one that's like pushing like this genre in a fun way.
I really, really loved how, are we okay to talk about story?
Yeah.
What I really loved is that I was totally duped because, okay, let me lay it out what I was thinking the whole time.
Okay.
If you care. I was like, okay, so this like heightened version of this world that she's in is her as a fantasist, and it's all her in her mind and, you know, all of that stuff, and all of the characters in her life, they're not living in this fantasy world. She's just, she's a fantasist. And then, so there's like the archetypal evil mother-in-law. And then when they have the period chat, that totally disarmed me. And I was like, oh, the mother-in-law is great. And I actually wrote down, love that she's being more human and that we're actually seeing things which are real now. And then for it to change into that, I was completely duped. And that's what I mean about I've not been so surprised. It's not even where the story went. It's that I fell for it. I just wasn't seeing it coming, because that period chat for me, I was like,
oh, that's her place within this film. I get it now. Like we've sort of...
She's actually fine.
Yeah.
And Priya, is it Rhea?
Rhea.
Sorry, yeah.
And Rhea is just making all of this up in her head.
Yeah.
She wasn't.
But she wasn't.
Yeah.
You were right.
There are parts like that I was like, I feel like this has been done a little, or just like, the like tropes of it. But like it was fine because it felt like, in a way, like a comic strip where it's like, there's the hero and then there's the villain and then like all is revealed. Like it felt like I was kind of on board with it. But then when it had that twist, I was like, okay, now this feels like something new that this feels like I'm, more than just enjoying the incredible stunt scenes and like these really funny characters and amazing acting. I now feel like I'm like watching something that's like fresh. Yeah.
Do you know what though? So having like thought about why the reasons that I was like, I don't know that I do fully love this. I think it was a little bit to do with the mum antagonist. Because I was like, oh, I loved that twist. And because I also was like, oh, what's going on here? And I feel like I did go on that journey with them. But I don't feel like I knew why the mum was like so evil. And I was like, maybe if I understood more, like maybe instead of her just being like, like being such a villain, that maybe I would maybe I would like it more. But I do also understand that is like, that's the genre though. Like, she's a villain.
Yeah.
That's why
And
I
you
like
just have
that.
to accept that. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's why for me, that's why I liked that I was like, oh, it's becoming more reality now. And we are seeing this side of her when her and her sister Lena connect, for it then to go back to that.
Yeah.
I just, because we are like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was, we wanted to see a little bit more, but.
Well, although in saying that, I've read that the director was saying that most of the time when she was like trying to make creative decisions, she was like, what would Rhea want this film to be? And you know, like you were just saying that it's all like in her head and like she's like has all these mad fantasies. I suppose that is how Rhea would have seen the mum is like as a complete villain. So that seems like that was a choice.
Yeah.
But just not one that I was into.
That you
But
love.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely see it. I see it like both sides. But yeah, like having that little like moment. This is what I mean about like it feeling, there's like moments that I felt was like slightly cooked in a way. And this is literally not based on any research. Like I have no idea what scenes were in, what scenes weren't. But you can imagine like notes being like, she's feeling the mother, Rahila.
Yeah.
You can imagine them saying, like, Rahila's starting to feel a little bit one note, even though we're seeing it from Rhea's perspective. Like, what can we do? And then you just add in, like, that little conversation and then it, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's exactly, like, what really happened in the inception of making this movie. But it's just, like, there's little parts that are very formulaic to, like, make a story kind of, like, push on, but it just like works for the genre, I guess, where it just feels like the double back, where it's like you need Rhea to like question herself for a minute and like, you know,
like it is commercial,
real commercial, spectacular.
So the stunts.
Yes. Oh, the coolest stunt scenes ever.
So cool.
I was so fun. I just was like beaming the whole time.
Yeah. Well, Priya, who plays Rhea, she had never done any kind of like fighting or martial arts or anything before. And she was cast 6 weeks out of shooting.
No way.
And then she had to learn to fight. And I think they only had like 2 weeks of official prep. But maybe I don't know, maybe she was doing prep before that as well.
She's obviously athletic though, right?
Well,
she must have been.
She must be, or maybe, but she so good.
Yeah, she was like hitting the floor like over and over and over again.
Yeah. So good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and lots of like wire work, stunts, of course, but she just like absolutely smashed it. But the director and also the cinematographer, who is Ashley Connor, who's done like some amazing films. She is like fab. She is a black belt in martial arts. So they've got like quite a martial artsy crew going on, which I thought was really cool.
Because it's also, I feel like there's always whenever I've done something with a lot of stunts, like there's always a bicker between like the choreography and making the stunt sequences and then how it's shot and like the ways that the stunt men would prefer it to be shot and but it's like it has to just like work for the thing. I feel like I'm like referencing Game of Thrones here, which is like it needed to be like very straight, very real, like no superhero kicks and flips. But shooting stunt choreography is like an art within itself. So the fact that she is a black belt, I feel like gave her a real advantage, and these scenes look like amazing,
very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to ask you actually about stunt scenes and like doing it, like how it must be really hard, and I don't really understand. I've never really been involved in anything like that, so I just wanted to like chat with you about that.
Yeah, I mean, just like really relentless. It's like in the same way that any like complicated scene can be, where you just feel like you're doing it again and again and again, but you also have the added like struggle of you getting more and more fatigued in a way. Like you can get emotionally fatigued, but sometimes you can push through that and it becomes something else, which is like quite special. But you know, doing stunts as you're getting more tired just actually becomes more dangerous. So, you know, you definitely have like a lot of breaks and stuff, but It's just stamina. It's really, and that's what comes from having a lot of prep. It doesn't even necessarily mean that you become better at stunts, but you do become better at doing them over and over and over again.
Like fitness, I suppose. Then
Definitely, yeah. It's really all about stamina and like kind of for everyone, because you get, and that's the thing. You start at the start of the scene and then you end at the end, and you want the end to be like, rah. So you just need to like bank a lot of energy, but. A lot of whenever I was doing any wire work and like going again, it's like because it doesn't look real enough. Like you look like you're floating on a wire too much, or you look like you're jumping like too easily, or like a lot of my notes always come from like you have to make it look more realistic. But that's something that you wouldn't have had on this because like
it's kind of the point.
It's all I would love to do something like that. I did a superhero movie and it was a bit more like that, but this is a dream.
Yeah.
And I love watching stunt scenes like that. And I know that all the stunt doubles and coordinators are just like, because like they sort of, I feel like they get off on it being like crazy, like, not necessarily realistic, but just like the imagination of like the battle and like, whatever.
It just goes to show as well, for that cinematographer, when we're working in film, so many people like don't have time to have hobbies, but your individuality can actually help and like be a selling point for you to get a job like this.
It's so true. Yeah. So true.
That's really cool.
I wonder how many like HODs do have I hope that they do, but have these like separate hobbies or skills actually that can feed into their projects like that.
Just to go back again so when you're doing stunts, do they ever put a time limit or like a take limit on them, or is it like any other scene you go until you get it? Well, depending on what it is.
I mean, I've not worked on something like that. The only thing that I can think of is I was working with an actor once who had to hold me. And he just said, like, straight up, like, I've got a really bad back and I can't do many of these. And it was just, like, respected. So I feel like, you could definitely be like, I can only really do this a couple of times because it hurts, like, the harness hurts or, like, whatever. It doesn't even necessarily mean that you're going to get it in less takes, but it does just, like, put that boundary in place. And people really do respect it because, like, it's exhausting, for everyone, I think, doing things like that. But, yeah. And I wonder what it's like for stunt people because actual stunt people, I'm sure, depending on how many takes they do. I mean, I think about the fire people that we worked with. So you set people on fire, basically. It's like one of the most dangerous stunts that you will ever do. And there's not a lot of stunt people that do it because it's like so dangerous. But we did that a lot on Game of Thrones, and that's definitely like every single time they're like, let's go again. There's just like more money in their pocket. So I feel like for, at a certain level, if you need to do a big crash, need to do a big, set yourself on fire, throw yourself out a window, I'm sure every single time you just like pocket in more and more.
Yeah.
And more, as you should, because it's like dangerous.
Yeah.
And things go wrong, things do go wrong.
Yeah.
And as a stunt person, that is part of your job kind of thing, which is, yeah.
Yeah. I would really love to talk about the sister relationship in this film.
Do you relate?
Well, I don't relate because I don't think I'm not needy to my sister in that way that these two are. Like, I've never felt protective over my sister by like her being with a guy or in a relationship at all, or with having other friends. But I know that I have like friends that have more relationships with each other like that, where they get really protective over each other. But I'm just not that. That's just not really my personality. But I know that is a thing.
Yeah.
Like, has it ever been with you?
It's not been necessarily like over boys with my sister, but I've definitely just like really craved quality time, like more in adolescence, or like not even adolescence, her adolescence, but my like childhood becoming a teenager. And like she'd come back and she'd like have a sleepover with like one of her friends, and I just sort of like, I want to hang out with it, and I'd like be asleep and I'd hear them come in, and then I'd like pretend that I was still asleep, and then they'd come in the room and I'd be like, oh, I just woke up, and then she's like, go to bed. But like, yeah, definitely I remember a real distinct time in my adolescence where like she would go out and I'd be like, I want to go too. Or like she had a boyfriend once who had a car, and they like took me out for the afternoon one time, and it was like the coolest afternoon ever. And like, but yeah, it was never like, you know, don't go out, don't leave me, how could you? But it was just like the craving of that, and like definitely watching your older sister like grow up and like start her life, and you're like, we used to sit and watch movies together.
Yeah.
Come back. Yeah.
Codependent.
Have you ever had that in a like female relationship at all?
Probably a friendship.
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, I just wonder with the two of you, I wonder if I'm sure there are people in both of your lives who feel that way about you.
Well, I think my sister is that way about me.
I was going to say that. I didn't know if you wanted to say.
Absolutely. And we say it all the time. My sister is like, she's like, I feel like I'm the younger one. I feel like I'm so needy towards you, and she's fab. And but I would say it's more the other way around with us. Nice. But I am the youngest, so it's not quite the same. But yeah.
Yeah. Nice to be needed.
I know. I love it.
It is
it
really
makes me
lovely.
feel great.
It's so lovely. I remember that when we first met your sister, it was just like such a different dynamic to what I thought it was going to be, you know? But it was like so lovely. And she just like wants the best for you always. And it's,
She's
nice.
fabulous. Yeah. But yeah, so I would say out of my female relationships is probably more the other way around, which is maybe just that I'm mean. Like
no, not at all. You're just
Definitely
independent.
not.
You're so fiercely independent, and like so it comes so naturally to you. And it's like, I feel like your sister's like, wait. You're so grown up. What happened to you?
But that dynamic, though, like in this film, it can be really toxic because you're trying to hold someone down in order to just keep something that you want to hold on to when they want to go and flourish. Obviously, in this case, it wasn't for the best for her to go off and run away.
But initially, it was, it was a toxic thing for her to be holding it back.
Because Rhea didn't know that.
Yeah,
It was only that she found out that we all go, it's justified. But at the beginning, she was going to do that regardless, you know?
And it was completely that she was kind of like, as much as it was that she wanted her sister to like have fun with, it was obviously also that she was like projecting her own, like, oh my God, if you can't make it, then I can't make it. And it's like, it was bad in that way. But I liked that she had a little realization at the end.
I think there's always, in any family, there are those dynamics where, especially with older people though, usually parents will be dubious of your dreams because they've never seen it.
Yeah.
Probably especially for people who work in film who don't come from families like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like though that in this, when they're like having their they're sat having tea in the evening, the family are talking about oh God, what's her name? Talking about Lena, like what she could do for her work, and it's not. And the dad is like, oh, there's a receptionist job going at blah blah. And then the rest of the family are like, no, that is not okay. You can't say that. Like even the mum, I think, says that. And I was like, that was cool. Yeah. And I loved that. I might just hop on over to sound design.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Great.
Well, what I found out was that when they had done, I think once they'd like picture locked, they did some test screenings. And in those test screenings, they found that there was a lot of audience members that just like it wasn't really hitting tonally. And so they were like, oh God, what do we do there? But they were still I think they were still doing the sound edit at this point. And so I've heard the director say like how important the sound edit was, and that actually was a massive part in making it like so heightened and like actually tells a lot of the story as well. And it like, And I think that's how they eventually did manage to land with the tone, and then for audiences to actually like get it properly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was really cool, like how sound design can so often just be like, oh yeah, you just like make it sound fine. But it's like, no, you can actually really, really change the film.
Especially for something like this.
Yeah.
I wonder in those test screenings if the edit was the same, because the edit's really punchy. So if the sound design wasn't as punchy and interesting as the edit, maybe there's a disconnect in that, and they had to just like bring it up to match that.
Yeah.
Because I'm even thinking about the part when the mum is like in the polite society, and then they're all talking about their daughters and their children and everything that they're up to, and then it keeps like hard cutting back to the girls. Now I would need to watch it again to know exactly, but in my mind, the sound design of those cuts is really, really cool, because you sort of like whoosh, like whoosh, like to both of them, but like hard cuts like that with like silence and noise or whatever, it can be funny, but it can be a very different tone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, because it wasn't just like the comedy was in like the hard cut, but it was also in the in the music and the way that it like this, the sound kind of punched between the two, and it could have fallen really flat in that moment. Actually, like it's such an abrupt thing to do, and it's like it's been done before as well, but it just there's something about it. I was like, this is hilarious, like, and the girls being hilarious, but yeah, that is very interesting, because even if you just think of the same cuts with a different sound design, they would land like entirely differently, even though they're same thing.
I speaking about the like humor of it all, I really at first Ria's two friends, who are like little sidekicks. At first I was a bit like, oh, I don't know if their humour's landing with me. And then as it went on, I was like, these two are hilarious.
Yeah. They were so good.
I thought they were brilliant by the end, but I don't know why I wasn't fully on board at the start.
I was the same. I think it takes a while, doesn't it? Especially, I think maybe as well because they do look older. I think quite significantly older than maybe what they're meant to feel like. But you do, like, they sell you very quickly.
Yeah.
I loved them.
When they were doing the whole, like, stealing the
So
sister,
funny.
I was like, this is comedy gold.
Yeah, they were really, really funny. I agree. I love their performances. But it's like that sort of thing. It makes me think, like, you really just have to commit, because you have to be like, this is the vibe that we're on.
Yeah.
And when, the three of them obviously had, like, great chemistry. What was the casting process like? Do you know, really, how they all got...
I don't
Because that
know.
feels like... I don't know, it just feels like something that's like cooked, you know, that they've had to hang out together. But you can just find lots of actors that are reading the same scenes, like, and you see that they would fit together, but they just felt you know.
Yeah, like they've been together for a while. For them to have found Priya 6 weeks before, that's actually quite mad for a film of this size.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you would have thought that she would have been the first person, and then they would have built around.
But that doesn't happen by planning. That happens by someone pulling out, I think.
Or by them not finding the right person for a long time.
Definitely,
maybe.
for sure. But like, I don't know, if they've got the money and they've like, you know, making the movie, they could just like push quite easily, or like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, me just like hopping on my little soapbox and spewing not facts about this movie. Just whenever I hear that, because I get offers and they're like, we're shooting in 2 weeks, and you're like, who pulled out? Yeah. Who said that they didn't want to do it? And it does sometimes make you be a bit like, maybe it's not good enough for me. But then sometimes you're like, this is great. And then you're like, is it great? Oh my God. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes when you hear about that,
Yeah.
But it could also be because they couldn't find the right person.
Yeah. Okay, so the budget. I actually couldn't find what the budget was here, but I feel like we could do like a good estimate, because I've seen a lot of conversations and them saying it was low budget. However, low budget indie, low budget studio. This is actually a studio film, so I'm feeling like, is it like 5 to 8 mil?
Oh my God, I was
Would you
gonna
say
like,
more?
Yeah, I was
more
gonna
like
just
10.
more.
Yeah, I was gonna just
20?
No, I was gonna say 40.
Oh, wow.
Is that ridiculous?
I feel like for them
That's
to,
ridiculous.
no, they've definitely said it was like, oh yeah, we had
Lower
to
than
stretch the
that.
pennies.
Okay.
And I'm like, I feel like they wouldn't say that if it was 40. Otherwise, they're being well dramatic.
Do you know what it is? It looks like 40.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they've really spent money like incredibly well.
It's gotta be a lot though.
But maybe it is low. Would you say more like 10 or something?
Well, I'm just trying to think when we were having that meeting. And they were like, oh yeah, our lower budgets, I feel like was like 5 to 8 or 5 to 10.
You're right.
So I'm like, would it be that? But then that's very good to have done what they've done.
Yeah.
But it is her first feature.
It is her first
so
feature.
it would be low.
There's not like really famous people in it.
No, I'm sure they weren't, forking out millions and millions and millions on their leading cast.
So I don't know. It's a mystery to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know my favourite part of this film was I think I might have been South Asian in a previous life because something about that music, it just does something to me.
When she did the dance
she's doing the
scene,
dance.
the dance scene was incredible.
So good. You just think about the production value on stuff like that and you're like, yeah, it's got to be more than...
So good. Yeah. Love. Opening weekend got $800,000. So not that good. And then worldwide by now, they've got 2.6 million.
That's bizarre. Why?
But I don't know why this isn't on a streamer.
Right, because we had to pay for it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Why has no one snapped this up?
And it wasn't even paid to... I had to buy it, not rent it, as
Yeah,
well, which I
same.
thought was weird.
Yeah, I did
So
too.
I don't know what all that's about.
This could have been... this could have been like... I don't know if it was working title that did like Run Fat Boy Run. She was like
Oh my
Simon
God, I
Pegg.
remember that,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, but I can't remember
It's
what
like
it
really great British comedy.
Yeah.
We went and watched another working title film like last year and it was, in my opinion, not it.
Yeah.
And it was marketed everywhere and it was in all the cinemas and I don't know how it did, but the cinema was packed when we were there.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was like the smallest cinema in the country or something.
There was 3 seats.
But still,
Yeah, and I don't know, that it just really surprises me because I feel like even the poster of this is so wicked. Like, why was it not pushed more?
Probably because that other film had Lily James in it, which is so infuriating
Because
that's all that people are interested in.
It was just objectively like not as good a film.
No,
They
oh my
should have
God, it
spent
was
their money
shite.
promoting this one.
Yeah.
Because it's so rewarding.
Yeah.
And that one was just like not progressive, not interesting. It was just like a bit, I don't know, it felt a bit fucking wrong, to be honest
It did.
with you.
It felt really wrong. By the end of it,
Yeah.
I was like, that was the whole way through. I was hoping that it wouldn't be that. Don't know what this film was called, so can't.
Yeah, can't remember what it was called, but...
I know the one you're talking about. That's such a shame. And I would love to know. Well, hopefully when it comes out on a streamer, it'll get like a really good audience and people will be brought to it. And hopefully people listen to this episode and when it comes, they'll go and...
Yeah, go and
Yeah.
watch it. Tell your friends about it. This is a brilliant comedy, British comedy like movie.
Yeah.
It's like fantastic.
It is good fun.
And like we always talk about what we're sick of seeing in the cinema. Like this is new.
This is new.
cool.
This is so new and very surprising. This is probably one of my surprises of the year that I've watched.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, on Letterboxd, people are also kind of like feeling good about this film as well. Because I was unsure. I was like, is it? I don't know what these reviews are going to be like. But no, it was all really positive, which I'm really, really pleased about.
Yeah.
So Giaba gave it 3.5 stars and said, she's jealous because she won't be able to find a suitable husband. She has photos of a female martial arts artist on her wall. I don't think she's looking for one.
She's gay.
Sydney gave it 4 stars and said, 1 hour, 45 minutes of hilarious women screaming, fighting, kicking, biting, crying, doubting, learning, reclaiming, hating, loving, and being the fury. So infectious and fun, an ultra stylized directorial debut by Nida Manzoor. Should be very proud of. Need to see more of Priya Kansara ASAP.
Yeah. Agree.
Love. And then Anna K. Aquaro gave it 5 stars and said, this is why we don't date mama's boys.
Yes.
Yeah. So excellent reviews all around.
Yeah, glistening. So good.
Okay, and next up for the filmmakers and actors, I actually couldn't find that much information here, but it looks like Nida Manzoor is writing on a new series called Do Not Disturb. I don't know what it's about though. So yeah. Ritu Arya is doing another season of the Umbrella Academy.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen her? I haven't seen that.
I saw the first couple of episodes of the first series.
And Priya Kanzara is in a TV series coming up called Dope Girls.
Oh my God, is she in that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, why? Do you know about it?
I know a few people who worked on it.
Oh, cool.
That's
okay.
great. Okay,
Nice.
exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love.
But yeah. So, girls, what are your final thoughts about this film?
Really loved hearing like what you thought about the story structure and like your qualms with it. Completely hear you. Feel like I had a blast watching this. I want more people to have seen it. And I just want more movies like this to get made because I think it's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like despite the qualms, I still feel like it was entertaining. This is all we asked for. We asked to be entertained, and I certainly was.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Proper entertained. It was a real surprise to me yesterday when I watched this. I think I had been meaning to watch this for so long, but do you know what? I probably hadn't seen it because it's not.
Yeah, because it's not available,
seen
really.
it. You know, I missed it in the cinema. I missed it in the cinema, and then just have not really seen much of it since. So I'm so glad that we spoke about it and agree. Like, more people need to see this film so that more films like this get made.
Yeah,
that aren't like. Even though we've spoken about the things which feel a little bit formulaic, I just think like for the cast and for some of the twists and turns in it, and it's really. It feels very original to this filmmaker. As we spoke about, you didn't even realise that it was the director of We Are Lady Parts.
Yeah.
She's got that stamp.
Yeah.
I just think, more like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, loved it. And actually, I say loved it. And then before I said, I'd be lying if I said I loved it. Had a great time.
Yes.
Exactly.
Just love watching female relationships on screen. And like, there were so many amazing relationships to watch in this film. Like good and bad ones. So yeah, so pleased.
Yeah.
Ever so pleased.
Fab.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me about Polite Society, girls.
Thank you for planning a wonderful episode.
You're very welcome. If you want to hear more from us, please follow us on TikTok and Instagram. We are at Frank Film Club. You can also send us an email on filmclub@wrapped.world if you fancy. We love to hear all about your thoughts about the film as well. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening to us on wherever you find your podcast, please give us a follow so you can see when our next episodes come out.
Well, next week we've got a right treat. It's our last episode of the series. Boo, but we're ending on an absolute banger. We put it out to the audience between 3 films, Bring It On, The Parent Trap and Spice World. And you all chose, not all of you, most of you chose Parent Trap, the 1998 version. So go and watch it. It's on Disney+. Join us back here next Wednesday for our final episode of the series. We will see you then. Woo.
This podcast was presented by Wrapped.